Broad River Tactical. Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are looking at my brand new and now converted AP5 SD. And before we get this video started, there are no sponsors for the channel right now. If you want to help me out, hit subscribe to this channel. All the videos that I make, I love and want to make. So if you want to see genuine 2014 style gun reviews here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. But also, if you want to help out further, I am starting a B channel. I've been starting it for a while now, and I'm just trying to grow it a little bit more. That has vlog and lifestyle / adventure content, from skateboarding to traveling and all these other things. I will put a card up in the corner of your screen. Now, I had a lot of interest in the SDs when I first started seeing photos of them, and then I realized that Century, or in this case MKE, was manufacturing them and importing them with a non-SD barrel. So another company did this back in the day. I believe the company name was Omega when I was looking at them. And essentially what you at the beginning had going on here is an MP5K barrel tucked underneath an MP5 SD handguard. And you know, that's kind of cool. It gives you a little bit of an ability to tuck a can under an SD handguard and get the look of an MP5 SD. But it just really was never of interest to me because it seemed a little bit poser-ish. On top of that, HK Bryce now makes an SD style handguard adapter that's 3D printed that allows you to pretty much turn any standard MP5 into an SD looking gun for about 50 bucks. So if that's what you're going for, I would just go that route. I wouldn't pay all this money to do that. But now that the popularity was rising with these, there are a lot more companies that are offering barrel conversion services to change this to a true SD barrel. Now, I'll try to maybe throw some photos up on the screen on what that means, but essentially you have around the same length barrel. The barrel stops at about here, but the interesting thing about MP5 SD barrels is that they are ported throughout the rifling in the rear section of the barrel. There are also threads at the base of the barrel that a suppressor goes all the way over and goes to the rear. Those ports allow the bullet to actually slow to subsonic speeds without needing heavier grain bullets in order to do that. So these are actually optimized to turn 124 grain ammunition into subsonic sounding almost 147 grain or better, which we will talk about in this video. I paid retail, well, dealer cost for this AP5 SD. I also paid full price for the barrel conversion through a company called High Tech Arms, and then also I paid full freaking website price for the High Tech Arms 12-inch SD suppressor. And I bought all the ammo. So this was quite the hefty video. The only thing that was given to me for free to check out during this review was this SD adapter, which I'm pretty excited about, from Broad River Tactical. We'll be talking about this later in the video. And that was provided. Chris over at Broad River Tactical is an incredible dude, so that, again, we will talk about in a minute. Now, High Tech Arms puts the barrel conversion at about 675 bucks with like 50 bucks shipping. So, you know, all in all, you're into this package roughly 2,300 without the can. Now, if you were trying to get like a Dakota Tactical converted HK-SP5 or just buy a kit from them, like you're well into the about $5,000 area. So just understand that although this is still pretty pricey, it is still well below any option for an MP5 SD that you would ever come across. Charlie Sheen, Navy SEALs, back in the day, I was loving this gun, and of course, Call of Duty. I finally have one, and I'm pretty jazzed up about it. Hi-Tech Arms 12-inch can is ultimately what I went with. You got a few different options for suppressors with this gun. This is the SD can, so it goes the full length to the rear of the handguard, and the factory HK original length is 12 inches for this suppressor. Now, the visible portion is only about 4 or 5 inches, so you got to remember that. And a lot of the original HK cans did have knurling, not necessarily knurling, but like an aggressive texture on the rear portion of the front of the can. And that, again, they did replicate pretty well in this package. The other option that is out there is B&T actually makes 2 different variations of SD cans. They make the short and the full-size 12-inch. And I was able to actually take a look at the short one at the range. I did not get any footage of that, but it sounded really, really good for its size. And those are surprisingly not super expensive either, which is cool. The problem on those that I had is I just could not find the full size in stock anywhere. And for me, and just looks, you guys know how I roll with nostalgia, I wanted the 12-inch can. So for like 760 bucks, Hi-Tech Arms was pretty much one of the most solid options that I saw out there. The one downfall, what I don't like about this can, is the aluminum baffles. I'm not an aluminum fan when it comes to suppressors. I think it's just a bad material to make cans out of when it comes to cleaning and just overall how the can sounds as well. The stock here, I have an MKE factory, older variation of the collapsing stock. This stock, man, was a bit rough. I've not been too happy about this and just fitment. We got one in, had to send it back to Atlantic because it wouldn't even fit on the MKE gun from the same manufacturing plant. Really, really rough, and this one is super tight. But from my experience in kind of long-term use on these stocks, they get very, very loose. So I don't necessarily mind it. At least I can get it in and out, and it works okay. How did this thing run at the range? It ran surprisingly well. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. When it comes to roller delayed 9mm variations of the MP5, unless you're buying an HK, this is just my personal experience, you got about, I'll be generous, a 60-40 that it's going to work or not work. And I can tell you that if your gun works out of the box, you'll be just fine. If you get it out of the box and it's like, oh, I had some FTFs and FTEs and it's just breaking in, or oh, it didn't like this or it didn't like that, or it's just a little ammo picky, you might as well just trash it because it's probably going to be an issue. And it's funny, the more that I get into the AK world and the HK world together, I find a lot of similarities with HKs and AKs as well. And in that reality, the gun is either going to work out of the box or it's not, and that has been my experience with my PTR, which has been a colossal nightmare. And in this case, worked right out of the box. Absolutely no reliability problems. I went through 800 rounds this first impressions range day, and that was with Wolf 124 grain brass coated steel. That was with MagTech polished steel case 115 grain, and also with Blazer brass 124 grain. I did not try any 147s because, again, this is kind of optimized for 124, but I will do that at a later date. I didn't hear any variances in noise from the 115 grain MagTech to the 124 grain brass. You guys will probably have heard a sound test in the beginning of this video. They sound very, very similar. The issues that I did have were magazine related, and I was pretty bummed out. I've never had issues with the MKE magazines in the past, but me and my boss both received, of course, these guns, and all 4 of the total magazines, so 2 with each gun that came, were not working in these guns at all, to the point that they would not even, and I'm going to see if it does it here, it does not. So you can see I'm fully inserted there as far as it can go, and it comes right out. These things do not lock into place at all, and I don't know what the hell's going on here. You can see that it is very clearly, I don't know if the video is picking it up, but it's very clearly over the shelf, and it's just not working. And that was so unbelievably frustrating. At the range, I put one of these in and finally got it seated somehow. I think I pressed down on the magazine release a little bit, and I couldn't chamber the first round out of the mag. They felt really crappy to load, so I don't know what's going on here, but these mags, at least the ones that came with this batch of AP5 SDs, seem to be total garbage. Of course, the HK magazines are working without issue, holds up just fine, shot just fine, so I don't really know what the deal is there. And also, this gun ran ETS mags as well, no problems whatsoever. It even attempted to chug through these AC Unity mags, had a few issues with the AC Unity mags as well, but again, this is a solely magazine problem. I have now not been able to get through a magazine in my AP5, my PTR, and even my HK SP5. So when I got home, I had about 14 of these mags that I just had from the review I did in the past. I literally dumped the box out into the garbage and threw them out. I do not want these magazines anymore. I have never seen worse MP5 mags. That's just my experience now on 3 different guns. So, you know, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. This one is going to be used for testing in the future, but all the other ones got tossed. So I think realistically, again, similar to AKs, check your magazine fitment on your MP5 variations, see what mags it likes. It's probably going to be a little bit picky in that regard. But again, as far as the gun for reliability, I had 0 issues, and another tall tale sign of reliability on an MP5, it should be jetting brass out of the ejection port at a really, really good, consistent arc, and that's exactly what we were getting here. On my PTR or other MP5s that I've seen with issues, a sign right from the get is you'll see like a trickle out, throwing one into the ether, a trickle out, and then one to the rear, one to the forward, a trickle out, throwing it up. Like, it's all over the place. That's a good indication that there's something off in the gun. I do have a little bit of a gripe on just shootability at the range. This trigger pack, although it looks awesome, of course, in the Navy style selector group there, you have just the weirdest feeling trigger, and I don't know what it is, but it's unbelievably frustrating to shoot fast. So I'm going to ghost the trigger here with you. You got a little bit of take up. The break and take up is not the issue. That actually feels pretty good. It's the reset. So a lot of travel, weird like semi-wall, reset, and then your brake again. And I don't know what it is. I'm not saying I'm the fastest shooter in the world, but man, it is difficult to dump the mag in this. And that's super frustrating because I want to shoot this gun so fast because it's such a cool gun. And it's just not that easy to do. And unfortunately, when it comes to MP5 trigger groups and trigger packs, the ambidextrous ones create a very frustrating issue. So although sure, it's kind of nice to have the ambi controls, it is really difficult to get upgraded ambi trigger packs that are not like $700. So a little bit of a bummer there. If I have a solution to that in the future, I will definitely let you guys know. If you think of a solution, let me know down in the comment section below. You guys heard me mention earlier the Broad River Tactical Adapter. So this thing is pretty cool. I have it pretty wrenched down, but I can kind of get it off to show you guys. So what we have here is a dead air Wolfman. And Broad River Tactical makes these super cool uppers that I'm hoping to take a look at in the future. We'll see. But they take a 9mm AR upper and he turns it into an MP5 SD looking upper with the same handguard. And it's really cool. And this was the adapter he came up with to essentially turn a lot of your silencer co cans, hub adapter cans, and things like the Wolfman here into an SD suppressor. Now, in reality, the whole rear portion of the SD can is basically just one massive blast chamber. And that's essentially what he replicated here. So this is just one pretty massive tube that now has the proper thread pitch to thread into your suppressor, and it's not an ATF controlled part, it's just an adapter, and your thread pitch in the rear is the same thread pitch as the barrel of the AP5 SD. This is designed to work with his AR pattern uppers, and he does make some notes on the website, and I was talking to him on the phone saying that on some MP5 variations, you may have fitment issues without the enhanced cocking tube and basically not allowing it to fully lock open. But on the AP5s now, with a few different options that are out there in the video world of YouTube, I have not seen anybody complain about issues, and I did not have any issues. The beauty of this is if you already have a suppressor that's capable of the thread patterns that he offers on the website, for about 185 bucks, you get this, and you are able to shoot your brand new converted AP5 SD without having to spend another $800 on the SD suppressor. Arguably, you have more options with better sounding cans as well. As far as how this gun sounded at the range, I don't know. I don't know what I expected. When I shoot my HK standard MP5 with the Wolfman and 147 grain subs, you don't even kind of need ears. It sounds like a 22. When I shot this with 124 grain, it was definitely subsonic. I was even tracing the bullets going down range in the glare, but I still wanted to put ears on. There was a good bit of port pop to the point that, you know, I was getting a little bit of ringing. Now, that ringing was not as present with the B&T SD can, so I don't know if that's just a high-tech arms can. And the ringing was slightly less present with the Dead Air Wolfman and Broad River Tactical Adapter in the full-size configuration. You watch all these videos, and you're looking online, you're like, man, that thing sounds like a 22. And from the perspective of standing behind the gun or to the side of the gun when someone else was shooting, that is the case. But when I was shooting it, I was not like overly impressed at how quiet it sounded. I mean, I guess I hyped it up a little bit too much in my head. I don't know what I was necessarily expecting, but it was very, very, very quiet, and super cool that it was that quiet with 124 grain, but I did have to throw ears on, so I don't know. You be the judge. Now, other people were shooting it, and they're like, I don't need to put ears on at all, so maybe my ears that day were just a little bit more sensitive than others, but I don't know. Take that for what you will. And again, I think you could play around with this adapter and many other cans to kind of try to find a sweet spot that might work a little bit better than a little bit more older baffle technology in these SD cans. So just take that for what you will. Also, I like the fact of having this, so if I want a K SD can, I have the ability to do that with the Wolfman. So there is that. And again, great company over there. They didn't pay me to say anything. They didn't pay me at all. They just gave me this adapter to take a look at. So that was pretty cool. Overall, I am so very happy with the AP5. No, it's not the quietest MP5 setup I've shot, surprisingly. Kind of checked all those boxes, scratched the itch of nostalgia, and was a very, very cool gun. And when I take into consideration the technology that's going on here in this barrel, and the fact that, like, as a home defense gun or something else, being that quiet and this compact, it's pretty freaking sweet. Now, also, I think it would be a little interesting to possibly see about that Midwest Industries full-length upper adapter that I have with M-LOK sections at the top. If you wanted mounting capability, that upper portion actually might work really well on this. I got to test for fitment, but again, that could be pretty cool. It's going to wrap up this first impressions video on the gun. I will do many more videos to come on this setup in the future, so stay tuned for that and see how it changes, or maybe my opinions change over time. Really excited to see these variations coming out of the MKE factory in Turkey. If you guys have any other questions about this gun or anything else on the channel, please throw them down below in the comment section, and I absolutely will try to get back to you. While you're down there, head up to the description to check out the links to support the channel. And as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.